often ask myself this question: what is the importance of making a short film? If you're putting so much effort, why not produce a full-length feature film? There are lots of benefits of making a short film to the filmmaker, to the society, to the audience, to the studios who are looking out for a good talent. There's one person who has to believe in your idea, your material, you as a director, you as a screenwriter, and is willing to take all the risk to see a film through all the stages of the filmmaking. And I often feel that once the film is over, everybody else takes a back seat except this one person, the film producer. The film producer is now tasked to make sure that the film is marketed and ensures that it reaches its rightful audience. So let's remediate short films today, focusing on film producing. Our special guest today is an actor, a short film producer, and a very well-connected casting director. If he decides to promote your film, I think you should consider yourself really lucky. For the fourth episode of Remediate with Sabir Haque, presenting our guest for today. And I have with me Ivor, and I'm going to just get him into the call immediately. Hey, what's up? And why
Hey, Sabir, how
are
are you?
in a suit? Look at me.
I just finished work.
So you
I
just
finished
came in
work
from your
and,
full-time job, is it?
yeah, I just did. And, I was like, very excited to be part of this talk show. So I said, just come right away and let's get
Thank you
into
so
it.
much. Thanks so much for basically taking out this time.
Hey, thank you so much
I
for
have
asking
so
me.
much
Actually,
to
you're
ask
the first,
you.
you're the first person who actually has asked me to come on a talk show. So I was very interested, and I said, yeah. I seen the other episodes, and I was very, very keen and intrigued. I said, yeah, let's go for it.
I have so much to ask you. I really hope that we can fit in within the time span that I have actually specified for the show. So I'm going to go right into it. Just before we started this conversation, in the intro, I spoke about how difficult it is, to find support for a short film, and to have someone so passionate about short films, And I have seen you working with so many projects and with the same passion, same zeal. I just want to ask you the million-dollar question. What do you get out of it?
This question has been asked every film I produce or every film I'm involved in. Whenever anyone watches the film, the first thing they say is, hey, what are you benefiting out of this film? Or how much money are you getting out of this film? See, the answer is it's passion. In a short film, you cannot expect any monetary return or any benefit. The benefit is that the film was made, and also the fact that you have a film in hand, you have a team that made it. It's very interesting. It's a passion-driven concept. So whenever anyone asks me, I always say if I had any monetary or any benefit in mind that I wanted to gain something out of it, I wouldn't have made the film. It's about the story. It's about the challenge. So that's what making a short film is. Having said that, it's about creating a portfolio. The more films you have, the more people will want to watch. If the films are good, or if the films have a good story, or if it's if the screenplay is a hit, the cinematography is a hit. So it's a combination of so many things.
I have seen across all your profiles a keyword that you're the go-to guy. So what makes you the go-to guy?
The reason why I keep why people say I'm the go-to guy or like kind of like a fixer is because from small I've always had this thing where I'm very inquisitive. If someone says, "Hey, can you find this?" and I go like, I want to know why, or I'm very inquisitive. Like I need to find it. So in sourcing, let's say cast, in sourcing crew, in sourcing a good DOP or a good actor, be it anything. Like if someone says I'm looking for something, I have to see if I can find it. So that's the reason why I guess I'm the good guy.
I just want to recall, when we were doing this test for this particular show, you were getting so many calls. So I think that explains. I just hope nobody calls us now. I hope
No,
while
no,
we
no,
can do
no.
this show.
You told me to. You showed me how to put do not disturb. I never knew about that feature, so I put do not disturb so I wouldn't get any calls.
Thank God, thank God. Otherwise, that this go-to guy is always busy. So so I can completely understand. Because when you're making a film, I think for most parts, I think be the director, but particularly the producer. The moment a producer signs up for a film, you know that a good amount of time for a big film, it might be a year. For a bigger film, might be more than a year. For a short film, I know it is still like a good amount of time that you have to put in. So you're investing so much time, right? So how do you know that this is the right film for you? What is the process like when it comes to selecting a short film?
I mean, I'm just going to talk as per my opinion, as per my idea,
Right,
because this is something to do
right,
with my vision. Choosing a script. So basically, what happens is I've worked with many really talented directors and very talented individuals. It's just that challenge of something that's not done before. If I see something that's not done before and something that can be done in the UAE, in this region, that itself catches me, draws me close. And then if I see the team that we get together with the story, if the story is beautiful, like for example, there was this one story that I did for Let It Go, and the director Sandeep Sukumaran told me that it's about a funeral, and I'm like, a funeral? Wow! Like I don't think I've seen any short film. That's a challenge because you got to the art department involved in that is amazing. Like it's a challenge to do it, a short film. Same thing for Sound of Two. It was a story between God and the devil, but it's all in one location, lighting. It was really amazing, very intriguing. Same thing with so many other films that have, even Amber, like the one that's currently made, which is running in festivals. It was a film 7 minutes without dialogue. That's like, how is that possible? So that itself, with the team that we have, I'm like, I know we can do it.
I know of so many first-time filmmakers who are watching this show right now, and who would be very interested in actually figuring out this whole aspect of budgeting for short films.
Yeah.
And lots of my students who wants to make film has a certain vision. For example, they all have like a pet project. They always want to work in very close to their heart, and they want to see their ideas in reality and on screen. You have worked with different variety of projects. You spoke about the Sound of Two. You spoke about your latest film, Amber, for example. Um, how do you deal with budgets? This whole subject of budgets with short film. Um, Please bring into context UAE also, because we're talking about UAE as a
Yeah, yeah.
location.
What I'm going to talk to specifically is about this region, the region that we have. We can do so much with
Right.
the region we have. I'm going to mix it up a bit because, like, I got so much to talk, but I just want to mix it up because I want to
Right.
stick to the question that you asked.
Right.
First of all, regarding budget. So, okay, like it all depends on what you want to do with it. What's the outcome? Where do you want to? How far do you want to go with that film? Like sometimes there are newcomers. There's a newcomer. There are newcomers, people from university who just freshly graduated. Like of course they don't have that much money to put in a film, or they can't find that much resources. So the important thing here is if you have a story and if you think you can make it with a decent camera and a decent team, just to tell the story. The important thing of a film is the story. If the story is good, the production value in the beginning doesn't have to be top. It has to be something that people will watch and say, "Hey, man, I liked your story. I mean, it's going somewhere. It's well executed, or good acting, or good editing." Like every aspect of a short film, people are watching. So there are good things in every short film. Some short films, the script might not be good, the story might not be good, but everything else is amazing. Some short films, um, the acting is best spot on, direction is amazing, but the cinematography is weak. So to get that balance right, you have to start from scratch. Like you have to learn from your mistakes, and it's always good not to invest when you start in the beginning of your passion. Let's say now coming to that, there are many ways of budgeting. Like one way is if you have your own money. Let's say if everybody in the team, like the director or the scriptwriter or the producer, like myself, or we want to put our own funds in the film, we need to just check, is that enough to make the film? What do we actually need to spend the money on? Because usually cast, like actors, if they start in the beginning, they want to build a reel, they want to build a profile. A director himself wants to build a decent reel. So initially he'll not be thinking of the money factor, you know. So when you start off initially, nobody is looking at getting paid, but it's just about making sure like you have the resources covered, like in case you want to rent a camera or in case you want to rent lights. These are important things that you need for a shoot. Permits is very important. So if you're shooting outdoors, you need to have permits. Like it's very important. You need to abide by the government rules. So like start off with indoors to be safe, because outdoors you need permits. Because unless the government catches you, you'll have issues. But the important thing is the proposal. If you have a good proposal, you can get people to, let's say, put in some funding, you know, like even if it's 500 dirhams, 1,000 dirhams, or even 5,000 dirhams, it depends how well and how good you propose. Like your proposal should be really good. Like what's the story about? How what are you planning to do with it? Where do you want it to reach? What platforms are you going to market it on? Are you planning to put it in film festivals or just put it online?
So when you're talking about a support for a film, when you're talking about basically producing a film, how difficult is it to get support in the UAE? What is your experience like?
See, like support in the sense of, let's say, for example, sponsors or funding or executive producers. Now, you see, executive producers, people keep thinking a producer is a person who's put the money. So there's a difference between an executive producer and a producer. So a
Yeah,
producer
of
is a
course.
person who's like a project manager who manages the entire
Right.
film, and also if he wants to put money in it, he can be considered as an executive producer. So an executive producer is a person who puts money, or a person who's actually in charge of getting money. Now in terms of getting money, there could also be sponsors. So sponsors are like, for example, if you want a camera sponsor, someone to actually sponsor camera, like Canon is a very good sponsor. If you speak to them, you give them a proper proposal, what do you want to do with the film, and they have new cameras coming out, they can actually use it for their workshop as well, like to show that, look, this film was made with this camera. You got Nikon as well. Nikon's a very good sponsor, so you have to talk to them. And there are other brands that you can approach for some funding or some sort of help. Like maybe you want a location, you want to do it in a restaurant. You speak to the owner, the management might actually allow it. But it's, again, I said, it's all about the proposal. So yes, you can get money if you approach it in the right way. You can't just go to someone and say, listen, I need money for our film. You have to tell them what's the purpose, make a proper proposal, the whole plan, and you can get funding. Besides that, if you want to put your own money, remember one thing, like whatever you put, you can't expect it back. But yes, if you create a
Yeah.
portfolio of films, you can benefit in the long run.
That's a very good point. I also noticed that you have managed to also screen your films to a private audience. How did you manage to do that?
Well, to be honest, I have this dream that whenever I see any films being played in the cinema, I'm like, what if a film that was produced, a short film, can be played in a cinema? So I've done that. I actually did Roxy Cinemas. Roxy Cinemas were very generous, and we got to do a screening for Sound of Two there. We got the Paramount Hotel. They have a beautiful cinema room that they helped. They supported us, and we got Amber to screen there. And we have so many other cinemas that have screened our films and other short films during film festivals, Elementary Brilliance as well. we got to screen it during the 48, in one of the in five. So there are some good platform, good places to screen. But the most important thing is Amber also got screened in a very prestigious place at the Abu Dhabi theater in Abu Dhabi. So it's a very good. You feel proud when you see a film and you actually invite your friends and everyone to come there and see a film. And you watch a film in a cinema screen like other films, and you see that's where like you've done something.
I have seen across all your projects. You have a solid. You have built an identity around the film. I have seen, like, there's a solid behind the scenes, for example. You are very clear as to where your films are going. So I have seen your films entering the 48-hour film competition, entering so many film festivals. So it looks like you have a design behind each film, and I think that is a great thing to have. So can you give us some of the secrets that you use?
Okay, I'm gonna mix it up again because it's a very
I
interesting
have full
subject.
it.
Like you see,
Yeah,
I'm so like interested in what I'm in this topic. So
right,
first of
right.
all, choosing the right team. Now, the important thing is you need to have decent a decent team. You need to have someone who actually can direct. You need to have someone who knows decent cinematography. You need to have someone who can edit. This is not something that you just have to try. You cannot take someone who has never done it before, or has no idea, or wants to just try it for the first time. Having said that, there is no harm in experimenting and trying to put something out there. There is no harm. Go ahead and do it. I'm saying go ahead and do it. Like if you have a story, even if it's a 1 minute story, a 1 minute film, 55 seconds, I've done it. I've done something with Sachin Ramdas, who is a director of Sound of Blue. We did Click, which was like not even a minute, and we got a lot of praise for it because the story that he told me was fantastic. I'm like, let's do it.
Is it money that you want?
You know what I want.
Can't give you that.
Don't toy with me, Mr. Clark! You've got 10 minutes.
I won't make it there in 10 minutes.
Well, now you've got 9. Move! My head. Help me. Help me. Where's my knife? Where's my knife?
Coming to festivals, film festivals. How I know about film festivals? There are some very good sites like Film Freeway. Filmfreeway.com is a very well equipped website where you can actually submit films even zero budget. There are films that don't take any money. Like entry fee is zero. You have a filter. You can actually go and make it zero, and it'll show you a list of film festivals. You can actually submit to those festivals, and then festivals.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I was also wondering, tell us the importance of documenting, because how important is
Yes.
documentation, like behind the scenes and taking pictures? How important is that?
Behind the scenes is very important. Most of my films that I've been involved with, I've always pushed for having a behind the camera, behind like a BTS person, like behind the scenes, because it's important to actually show the audience what we went through. Any film, whether it's good or bad, the fact that the film is made, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. It goes through a huge process of editing and post production, sound composition, to put it into one place. Even the dialogues to sync, everything is it's very intricate, but it's very important. So the important part is that you need to document it. Like you need to do a behind the scenes. People will see. Like you can do a small 2 minute video and post it after the movie is out.
So I think what I also love that you're passionate about creating a community, because to be honest, I really felt that, at certain point that in UAE you have so many talent, but there's no common place. So I have seen that you have been, you have put in your effort in creating a space. You have a Facebook group called Screen Space. You have just, I think, recently started Real to Real. What was the idea behind those two community spaces?
I noticed there's so many filmmakers out here. There's so many short filmmakers, and there's so many short films. Some people come from India, and they have some beautiful short films. Like some people come from Serbia, from different countries, and there are also a lot of short films that have been produced here, but nobody knows. So I'm like, why is that? Why is that? Why is that happening? So we have to see we have to actually go to a film festival to see the films made from that year or a year before. I'm like, why not just have a channel where everybody can just browse through, and all you can see on that channel is short films made by talented filmmakers in this region. Now, coming to Real, I saw that actors, they have auditions. Like myself, if I'm trying to audition for a commercial, I have all my clips in my phone, but I'm like, what am I doing with it? No one can see it. Only the agency will see my clip. Or what if I want to do a monologue? I want to show someone my monologue. I'm going to show my friends, but that's about it. I'm like, no, let me create a platform where everybody can show their work, show their talent, show how good they are. And trust me, fellow actors are commenting back by saying, good stuff, good acting. I like what you did. Or can we see you do negative? Sometimes I throw in some challenges by saying, hey, who wants to do the Joker? And I mean, there's a very, very close friend of mine who's one of UAE's top talented actors, Rick Abbey, who's right now in Jordan because he's filming a very big film, but he's kind of stuck there because he's waiting to get back in here. But yeah, so I can plug like so many people out here. There's so many talented people. But like I said, so Real to Real, I made for actors, producers. Screen Space, I made for filmmakers. But the important message is, whenever you make a short film, never promote the film, never over promote or overhype a feature film or a short film or anything that you're part of. Never overhype until it's finished, until it's done, until the final cut. Because if it doesn't happen, then people will be like, why were you hyping so much? And you're promoting it. So it's always safe. Right. You can put like a crew or a rap, like the whole group rap. You can do all those things, but don't overhype until you're ready. Like for me, I will promote my films to the moon only when they're finished. When I see the final cut, I'll start promoting like crazy. I'll promote the director, I'll promote the actors. Like I have a thing where I like to promote everybody. That's my thing. So
I have seen that. You're very passionate about that particular part. And you have a very good knack of using all the different channels.
So you have YouTube, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have film festivals where if you get selected, you can promote. But you also have YouTube ads. It's called YouTube AdSense. Sometimes if you want to put some money and just inject some funds, they actually put it in a form of ads, and you can generate some views there. So that's a good platform. Then you need to look at some platforms and submit to some good platforms like Omeletto, Pocket Films. So coming to Pocket Films is a very big platform, Indian platform, which has 2.73 million subscribers. So thanks to a very, very good friend, Vijendra, who actually told me about this platform because one of his films has touched 1 million views. So I was like, really, like, you think would they be selecting any of my films? And he said, why don't you try it out? So believe me, like the 48-hour film festival, the last 48-hour, which I did with Leo Wong and a very good DOP, Mark Hobson, and a great team of actors, and a 6.5-year-old girl, and it was a crazy team, like such an amazing team. We actually did that 48-hour film, and that 48-hour film, we won 7 awards at the festival. And this film actually got picked up by Pocket Films, and I was like, wow! When I submitted, they were like, yeah, congratulations, your film has been selected. I couldn't believe it. I was like, really, like it's a 48-hour. The movie was made in a day. It was made in a day and edited the next day and submitted. So a movie of that, it was a well shot movie, well executed movie. But just think of it, a movie people take months to plan, and a movie that was made for me was a special moment because to get it on Pocket Films, and now it's on Pocket Films, so everybody can go and watch Elementary Brilliance.
I also for everybody's benefit, because you sent me your IMDb profile, and I just went through it, and your reel, man, it's endless, So not many people might know. I mean, you have worked with such big names, somebody like Shah Rukh Khan, and on top of it, you have worked in so many commercials. I think this is one aspect. I think you don't talk much. I think because I've noticed you don't talk much about that side of it. You also work as a casting director, and you worked with some really big names in the industry. So although I just want to know from you, um, how did you get into this, in terms of, and I think, is it your nature of basically connecting with people that that makes you a very good casting director? Just like, just tell us, how did you get into it? And so many commercials, man.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's
Okay.
amazing.
Thanks. Thank you so much. First of all, in short films, how I got into it, because a friend of mine, Kirill, he asked me to just join him and see how it was, just to help him on a 48-hour film. And I went in just to see like what was I doing there, because I just lift the reflector, just pick up these things, make sure those things are there. I was just like whoa, this is so interesting. When I finally saw the end product, I was like, wow, like that's how you make a film. And then I started getting into more and more, that the curiosity. And then I took more passion, and I started. That's how I got into production, and getting into more and more in depth, in detail with the whole short film game. But of course, by doing research, and also connecting with people. Now, connecting. When you told me about connecting, I've lived in UAE all my life, so I kind of know a lot of people out here, and I'm kind of like a social guy. I like to communicate. I like to socialize, and I always keep something in my mind. Like if I meet someone, like I know that person, like if someone tells me I'm looking for somebody um with colored eyes, who's got black hair, who looks like this guy, like in my mind, I always start looking like, oh, wait a second, I do know someone who looks like that. And then I actually recommended a couple of people, and then they were like, hey man, I got the part. And I'm like, okay, that's good. And then later on, I started seeing people asking for different people, different kind of castings, and I started recommending them, and they started getting those jobs. And I said, wow, like, okay. So that's why I started getting into the whole casting game, and it's really interesting. One of my biggest achievements was Sacred Games 2. I mean, I always say this: God is great, and positivity is the key, because that's always helped me go to the next chapter. Uh, but like, just tell you, I had helped on a commercial which was for Tata, a very big commercial that touched 22 million hits during it's a Ramadan campaign, and from there, because the casting director was from Mumbai, he connected me on some group, and I got called for Sacred Games 2. I thought it was a hoax, and then later on, actually, it wasn't. They actually were from the team, and I actually casted Leo Wong as a Korean scientist in an important scene that we shot in Abu Dhabi,
This
and
is so
and actually
cool.
came.
This is so cool.
um, yeah.
Wow.
Also, I've done some castings in Bollywood, and I've done something in Hollywood as well. So I don't want to get into that, but I have done quite a lot of stuff. I like doing it, and I like to look out for people. I like to help and push talent. If I know someone really deserves it, I will. I don't look at anything of what I benefit. It's all about that person deserves it. I want to help that person. Now coming to myself, acting, it just happened because um, I liked modeling when I was in university and stuff. So when someone told me, why don't you go try it for a commercial, I just went out there and actually I got selected. So one of the big commercials I did was with Nicole Kidman for the Etihad Airways Reimagined, and I was like, wow, this is big, and I enjoyed it, and I said okay, and then I started trying to put my profile out there, taking some decent pictures, and then I started getting more commercials, and before you know it, I got the Shah Rukh Khan commercial, which was thanks to my daughter Mia, who actually told me to go for the audition. I wasn't going because I'm like, half of UAE is going to be there for the casting. Where am I going to stand a chance? But I actually ended up getting it, and it was a brilliant moment to share 2 days shooting with him, and he's such an amazing individual. And looking back, I still keep thinking like it just happened so fast. But at the end of the day, like I keep saying, just keep believing and never give up, and anything's possible.
Yeah, I think it's all the it's all the good things that you have done. I think it's basically you don't think twice before like recommending someone for a role, and if you feel that that role is right, I think that's the
Yeah.
key thing. It's I think finally it has ultimately caught up with you, and you have ended up becoming a director as well. During the during the
Yeah.
quarantine period. I think after all this, I think it's a bug that will eventually, it will bite you. You would want to tell your own story one day, and I think all this solitary confinement, I think finally got way into this whole idea. But I think it's a brilliant idea. I saw the film, and and a big congratulations on your on the debut with Hinged. So just briefly tell us about that process. How did
Yeah.
that happen? And I think you had a lot of support, you know from your community. So just give a brief
See,
about how that film happened.
the important thing is what I want to share is always support the fellow talent. Let it be a producer, let it be a director, let it be anyone. Just support them. Like if you like someone's work, say that you're good at what you do. And if that person says it back, it feels so good. You don't have to expect it, but it's just the way the flow goes. So I keep trying to push and see who all are available in the industry, uh, who are like-minded. Anyway, so during the quarantine, the lockdown, we couldn't get out of our house. We couldn't go anywhere, and I was just sitting down. I'm thinking like what if we can't get out of our house? What if we can't get out of our homes? Like, what if I make a movie like that? So I started discussing with Leo. I started discussing with Sachin. I started discussing with Faisal. Faisal Hashmi is like the director of Amber, and I was like, if you could help me edit, I can probably try it in direction. And he said, yeah, man, the story is good. Uh, I was trying to find the twist at the end. And while discussing with them, Faisal kind of like told me, what if the person just can't get out? And I'm like, yeah. And we started working towards it, and I kind of capped the story. So I'm like, whew, it's going to be a challenge, because imagine directing all the actors who are in their own homes and making a film out of that. I'm like, it's going to be a challenge, but I said, let's try it out. So that's what I did with Zoom calls. Thanks to all the video conferencing, I started talking to all the actors. And the good thing is, whoever I asked said, for sure, we'll do it. And I was like, wow, I mean, that's amazing, because I'm having some really good actors to be part of the film. And I even told Leo to act in it. I told Faisal himself to act in it, and they all said okay. Even Kane, I told him, because he does sound, and he was like, okay, I want to do a scene as well. I'm like, that's amazing. So in the end, after discussing on Zoom as to what I want them to do, I actually saw them, or I showed them what scene I wanted them to do. And before you know it, we actually, they sent those files to me. I sent it to Faisal, and then we stitched it into a film. But we had to make sure it looked like one clean film. But for that, the credit goes entirely to Faisal, because he edited it. And I was just looking at the story and seeing that it makes sense. And I acted in it too. My DOP was my daughter, and also her mom. Like, they helped with the filming on the scenes, because I did it in a house in Dubai, and it was just a fantastic experience. And also I put a blooper video out as well, which I would love people to watch.
I think in this whole idea of making content film has really caught up, right? Because now
Yeah.
I understand there are some film festivals which are taking films made during the quarantine, and I think it's a very exciting area out there.
Speaking of the film festival, I just put this film. There was this. I keep submitting all my films to different festivals, on Film Freeway, on Short Film Depot. There are many websites, but Film Freeway, Short Film Depot are good websites. So I keep submitting.
Right.
So I just said, you know what, there might be some quarantine film festivals. I put Hinged, the film, out there, and it got selected in a social distancing film festival, as well as now I found out there's a festival called Feel at Home, feelathome.ae, and also the Alain Film Festival, where Amber won Best Film last year, also having a quarantine film festival. So I submitted Hinged for those festivals, and just today, just before this interview, I got an email from Feel at Home saying your film has been selected. So I'm like, wow, it means so much, because it's my first attempt on direction, and to get all my friends in that film, and to see that it actually
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you, yeah.
I keep going back to the day when I met you. I think I have to thank Ashwin for basically uh, to basically connect us together. And and ultimately, because of you, I met so many other wonderful people as well. So thank you so much, Ivor, for joining me with this show. and it was so much learning. I hope within the span of time that I had kept for the show, I think it was worth it, even if we had extended the time. And I want to thank you again for all the insights, all the trade secrets. And yeah, so do you have any message for the people who are watching this show, for the people that you have worked with? The floor is all yours.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to, before I give a message, I just want to also thank Mr. Mansoor Al-Fili, who's one of the most senior Emirati actors and like a mentor to me. He always helps me, supports me. Thank you, Mr. Mansoor. And Ashwin Kumar was a very close friend of mine, and I've seen him grow in this industry from short films to now he's in feature films, and a very good friend of mine. And I just want to thank him as well and give credits to him. So Rick Abbey, like talented actor, Leo Wong, acting in the UAE, Sachin Ramdas, talented director, Faisal Hashmi, I don't know, he's good at everything. Kane, Mr. Sound, I got to give credit to Marianne, who actually, when I started, I actually saw her. She's a producer, and I actually learned quite a bit from her, and I still do. I got to give Mini Sharma, Keshav. So the list goes on, but I just want to say Arjun Raman. There are so many other directors. So everybody on Screen Space, reel to reel, like hats off. Oh yeah, I got to also say someone who's really been in this industry 22 years, Alex G. Also, I want to thank Anika and her whole family because they're all just so talented. Also, I want to thank Vimal and Ahmed. And the list goes on, but you know what? Thank you everybody for like just connecting and doing your thing. Last but not least, a strong message to everybody is if you have a dream and if you think you want to do something, just do it. You're not going to lose anything. And when you actually see, you're being acknowledged and you think you're going in the right path, do some research and keep going forward. And trust me, amazing things will happen, miracles will happen. And yeah, God is great. Never forget that. Thanks. Thank you, Sabir, for this beautiful interview.
So that brings to an end to our episode on how to market your film. There are a lot more interesting content coming up in the next few weeks, so stay connected with me. If you have not liked my channel so far, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep you posted on all the upcoming episodes. Thank you for joining me today. This is #Remediate with Sabir Haque.